So you're thinking about getting into watch collecting. Well, first, I would tell you probably don't. It's a terrible addiction that will eventually make all of us broke. But if you disregard that first little tip and you still want to continue on this journey, what does an actual watch collection even look like? Well, I'm just one idiot here on the internet, so take everything I say with a grain of salt, but here's what I think a well-rounded, organized watch collection looks like. First, I'm going to talk about 4 must-haves in a watch collection, and then we're going to kind of end it with 3 cherries on top, so to speak. It is 10:05 a.m. Let's get down to business. All right, so we're starting off with the 4 must-haves. Now, when I say must-haves, if you don't have these in your watch collection, doesn't mean that it's like any less of a watch collection than anything else. Again, take everything I say with a grain of salt. This is just from my own perspective. The first thing you should have in a watch collection would be probably an everyday piece. What does that even mean? Well, it's a watch that would be easy to wear every day. And you know what does a very good job filling that role? Field watches. Now, notice how I didn't say you must have a field watch in your collection. I just personally think field watches make a great everyday piece because they're typically understated, they're typically undersized, they're usually durable enough to withstand whatever you're going to do day to day. And again, they're usually just generally very versatile watches, which is perfect for something that you would want to put on your wrist just every day. The next 3 watches I'm going to mention in the must-have section are going to be a bit more specific. For instance, a tool watch. I think every collection needs a tool watch because even if you're not a construction worker or someone operating heavy machinery, there are still going to be times that you're doing something that's going to get your hands dirty, whether it be yard work, chores, working on your car, going on a hike. There are a multitude of reasons why you might need a watch that you will not have to baby or even think twice about putting on your wrist in any situation. My pick for the ultimate tool watch would be a G-Shock. Now, my specific pick is a DW6900 Neo Tokyo, but literally any G-Shock would essentially fill this role quite nicely. They have an incredible water resistance rating, they have incredible shock resistance, they have a ton of various functions, and you essentially cannot break one. The next must-have in your watch collection would be a dive watch. Now, it seems like as the years have gone on, the dive watch archetype seems to be just the general avatar for a wristwatch. And there's good reason for that. They're probably one of the most common watches produced. They're water resistant, and a lot of them have some very interesting history. So whether you're going on vacation or just hitting the beach, having something with a really good water resistance rating and something that fits that kind of dive watch archetype should be a mainstay in your watch collection. And the final watch that I would bring up for a must-have in your watch collection would be a dress watch. I get it, not everyone is going to a black tie affair or even fancy schmancy dinners all the time. But maybe you're going to church or temple or wherever you pray, or you have a work function, or maybe you just want to dress up a little bit. Or you can be like me, someone who dresses very casually most of the time and still chooses to wear dress watches once in a while because they're fun and they're elegant and they're sophisticated and they're beautiful to look at. In my opinion, regardless of what you're wearing, there's never a reason not to wear a dress watch. You have the 4 must-haves in your watch collection, but now you've gotten a little bit deeper down this rabbit hole and you're looking for some extras. Well, I have 3 cherries on top that will be sure to make yours the ultimate watch collection. First up, Chronograph. Now, I get it, not everyone sees the value of this complication, but it's a very, very common complication when we're looking at watches as a whole, and they're very fun. I've said this many times, you never know the utility of a chronograph until you have one on the wrist and you find yourself timing everything. Think of it as a little fidget spinner or something to play with. Having a chronograph complication on your wrist is very fun. It's something extra to look at and to play with. And there is functionality to it. You just might have to get one on your wrist to find out. The next pick for your ultimate watch collection would be a vintage piece. Now, I'm biased because I am a vintage watch dealer. Real quick, guys, we are doing a restock tonight at 5 p.m. Pacific at the Time Teller shop, so do not miss out. A whole bunch of awesome watches are going to be available again tonight, 5 p.m. Pacific. Do not miss out. But I don't think there's any harm in getting your feet wet in the vintage world. Vintage watch collecting is not equal to just watch collecting as a whole. It's a totally different animal, but I think it is so fun to find out all the different things you can learn about and all the stories these old watches tell. And if you truly want the ultimate watch collection, having a vintage piece is just going to be the gem, the cornerstone, the thing that you look at and cherish, and something that you can pass down even further along to your kids. And finally, when we're looking at the ultimate well-rounded, well-organized watch collection, I would recommend a solar-powered watch. Whether it be something like a Citizen Eco Drive, or some of Casio's solar options, or even a Cartier tank with solar-powered options. The utility, the ease, the convenience of a solar-powered watch is going to make that piece something that you're going to find a lot of value in when you're looking for something to grab and just throw on the wrist. So guys, when we're looking at the list that I just gave you of the criteria of the ultimate watch collection, you're going to notice there's room for some crossover and some blending. What do I mean by that? Well, certain watches can actually fill multiple roles on this list. I'm wearing one right now. Here I have a watch that I've been talking about a lot recently because it's actually my newest pickup, my Doxa Sub 200 Seagraph 2. This is a dive watch, it's a chronograph, and some people would consider this a tool watch. And what about that vintage piece that I told you to get? You could get a vintage chronograph. You could get a vintage dress watch. You could get a vintage dress chronograph. Or that solar-powered watch. Well, I mentioned Casio, solar power, put those together. A G-Shock, a solar-powered G-Shock. Now you have a solar-powered tool watch. Boom. You've just knocked two things off the list. Or a solar-powered dress watch. A lot of companies make these, but specifically, Cartier recently kind of came out with a solar tank. So looking at my list, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pieces that I've mentioned. But that doesn't necessarily mean you need to buy 7 watches. So guys, this is just my input on how to build the perfect, ultimate, well-rounded, well-organized watch collection, but I'm interested to learn what you think about this and what you would add to your list. So please leave me a comment and let me know, what would your ultimate, perfect, well-rounded, well-organized watch collection look like? Leave it in the comment section below and I will talk to you there. And as always, if you're interested in picking up some new watches or some used watches or some vintage watches for your collection, please check out thetimetellershop.com, the #1 place to find affordable vintage luxury watches handpicked by me. Alright guys, I will catch you on the next one. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay blessed. I'm Jory Goodman, the Time Teller, and always remember, I didn't invent time. I just tell it.